Hello, and welcome to my Inclusive Education Showcase. My name is Rashard S. Elliott, and today I will share evidence-based strategies for supporting students with autism spectrum disorder and ADHD in inclusive classrooms, more specifically 7th grade level classrooms, while maintaining ethical standards and FERPA confidentialities. So let's dive in. So first, we want to start off with talking about. Sorry, let me get this. There we go. First, we want to start off talking about understanding inclusion and ethics. So, inclusion education is rooted in equality and empathy. Our role as educators is to provide individualized support while protecting students' privacy under FERPA. This law reminds us that confidentiality is not just a rule, it's a matter of dignity and trust. So, some key points I want to point out are inclusive education promotes equal access and belonging. Teachers must safeguard students' information per FERPA confidentiality because confidentiality builds trust and protects students' dignity. Ethical educators focus on collaboration, empathy, and individual support. So now let's talk a little bit about the autism spectrum disorder, ASD. Autism spectrum disorder is a developmental condition that impacts communication, behavior, and social interaction. The CDC reports about 1 in 36 children are identified as ASD, and it's not a one-size-fits-all diagnosis because each child's abilities and challenges are unique. So let's talk about how ASD affects students. So students with ASD may struggle with transitioning, sensory sensitivities, interpreting social cues, structured routines, visual aids, and calm spaces help reduce anxiety and improve participation. So let me give you an example. For example, Emma. Emma finds sudden schedule changes stressful and sometimes needs a quiet space to regroup before rejoining activities. So if Emma is coming to your class after a transition period, then rather than have her jump right in and start with your bell ringer, or like I call them kickstarters, maybe give her 2 or 3 minutes to kind of sit in the quiet calm corner to kind of just gather herself and like prepare herself to dive head into that instead of just going right into it. Let's look at some academic impacts of ASD. So academically, ASD can affect comprehension and communication. Strategies like visual support, peer modeling, and clear instruction make lessons more accessible. Multisensory instruction combining visuals and sound with movement help bridge understanding. For example, during reading time, Emma focuses deeply on dinosaurs and may miss other parts of the lessons unless guided. So knowing this, as we are going through this story, reading about dinosaurs, as the instructor, I would consistently regroup our focus. Yes, the dinosaurs are great. This particular dinosaur is amazing. But what do we know? What is this dinosaur doing? And what is this dinosaur in relation to the story that we are reading? All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is our classroom inclusion practices. For ASD. Encouraging peer collaboration builds empathy using structured group roles, calm down zones, and positive reinforcement helps students feel safe and valued. Always discuss support privately. Never mention a student's diagnosis to others. For example, during morning routines, I may greet my class and point to a daily visual schedule on the board. When a change occurs, I will explain calmly and check in with Sam to make sure that he understands what's next, right? Because it could just be the sudden change could kind of just throw him off just a little bit. Another example is I would pair Sam with a peer buddy during group science projects to help him practice social communication in a supported way. So my final thoughts. Inclusive education is not about lowering your expectations. It's about raising support. When educators combine empathy, ethics, and evidence based strategy, they empower every learner to flourish. I want to thank you so much for your time. Again, my name is Rashard Elliott, and you have a wonderful evening.